Welcome back to my channel. Today's episode is about the 2009 catalog from Selmer Paris. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, subscribe, like, and share afterwards. What we want to do is just go over this catalog real quickly. You look at the bottom for chapters. So what we have is the catalog in 2009 for Selmer Paris. And over here they go over the different clarinet families if you've never seen them before. On the left-hand side is the A-flat sopranino clarinet all the way to the bassett clarinet in A. It's extremely long, of course, so extended range. Look at the bell, you'll see a floor peg on it. Right there. Most people use the B-flat clarinet, which is right here in the middle to the right, and also the A clarinet. Next page, you get to the lower tone horns, the bassett horn in F, all the way to the contrabass clarinet in B-flat. You can pause if you want to read this more. And the reason we're doing this catalog is it had a lot of history of the clarinet in here, from Jack Denner in the early years of the tremolo all the way up to the current catalog of Selmer clarinets. Moving on here, this page it talks about the tonal qualities covering 3 octaves and the application of the Boehm ring mechanism in 1839. Here we have a nice old C clarinet by Denner. Based as 1720 era clarinet. This is a copy apparently, made in 1980. It's very hard to find old clarinets because the wood was boxwood and it cracked a lot. Temperature changes, even breathing, cold air and stuff would just crack it. So it says in Italy here, 1700 created the first pianoforte instrument. Piano with forte nuances. In France, according to Boucher, Denner here information about there. Right hand side talks about the early clarinet. Going back to circa 1135. And in the 12th century, the French pipe had 8 holes in it. Very limited, not exceeding a 1/10. No overtones. If you notice, these keys here are square holes covering the holes. You notice these square keys, they originally only had a leather covering. And later on just had a felt covering, then they felt covering with leather, I believe. Here's some more information about Jacob Denner and Barthold. Here he added a small length of copper piping inside B-flat tone hole to prevent moisture buildup within the instrument. And it could be played over a range of 3 octaves. And we have the introduction to the 5th key. Move on to this page. Of course, we had Mozart, who wrote for the clarinet, his famous Divertimento in K and Concerto in K. Here's some pictures of the 13-key clarinet on the left, made of boxwood, and a Boehm key, first shown in 1910 in the Selmer Catalog. You can see the old Selmer emblem on it. Here I mentioned Moulin's 13-key multi-tone clarinet in 1812 in the Paris Conservatory. 1839, we have the Boehm flute system, which is the ring keys, Heiss and Klose. More information here about that, you can read about it. He persuaded Louis Auguste Buffet to make the clarinet with the new Boehm ring key system in 1839. And the modern clarinet was born, going back to 1839. And in 1843, Buffet officially registered his patent for that, for the ring keys. More information there. Now there's also a, where is it here? Demi Boehm clarinet, which I'm going to do another YouTube video on that. Here's the Albert Clarinet, as we've seen before. Selmer Catalog 1910. Of course, they're metal clarinets, both in Albert and Boehm setup. Oh, we will roll on to the center tone, of course, in the 1950s catalog. Of course, the center tone itself from the early to latest one was an evolution of the bore in the upper joint, and it evolved into the Series 9 and 9 star. Series 9 was for jazz, and 9 star was for symphony orchestra. So we have now you had 2 professional clarinets. Up to that time, it's basically 1. And for you oboe lovers out there, we have the Marchi system in the 1975 catalog. Overabundance of complex keywork, hopefully to improve the tone and stuff. His system was about basically 20 years of research, it says here, improving the pitch and sound in the high and top end registers, and extending range and extra octave. That's what happens when you put an extra octave key way up here. Of course, now everything has to be in a line. Can't really use your barrel to adjust your intonation anymore. And up here it mentions the tennis in August 77, the recital in October 84, prologue in 92, the tennis 2 in 94. And in March 97, the signature clarinet was brought into play. And then the Odyssey and Artiste clarinets. Moving on, we can see here, this picture over here on the right-hand side is of a signature. You know that from the raised tone holes. You can check my video I did just last week about the signature clarinet with pictures of more close-up pictures. More information here about Buffet, 1839, and the family of sax horns. I have a whole catalog of Adolphe Sax's sax horns in the early years, which will be another video sometime. Here's information about Alexandre and Henri Selmer. Now, this actually told me I never knew his birth and death years of Alexandre Selmer, 1864 to 1953. But Alexandre was a pivotal point in helping Henri to get his clarinets to market in the U.S. and also manufacturing snafus he had in France at that time. They studied under Hyacinthe and Klose at the Paris Conservatory. More information you can read here. And of course, he started making reeds because he thought they were unreliable at that time. If you have a reed from back then from Henri Selmer, it's probably rock hard, isn't it? In 1910, they had a catalog. I have their catalog. I think I provide parts of it in another video. I'll try to posting a link to it at the end. Because it had oboes, English horns, bassoons, flutes, flageolet, saxophones, and all kinds of reeds. That time it also announced their acquisition of the Barbier flutes and their manufacturing facilities. And their flutes are made of ebony and granadilla wood and hard rubber, which of course fit in with clarinet arena. Of course, it says here they're established in heart of Montmartre 4-place Doncourt. I can't speak French, people. Okay. And 25 workers. Alexandre Selmer, also a student at Klose, left the United States, built a career at the Boston Symphony and other symphonies here, and started Selmer USA. And he handed it off to George Bundy. There's more information you can read. Put on pause and read that if you want. Notice these names. These names actually pop up with other clarinet brands because they will go and make their own brand, a clarinet one time. Of course, it says here in Alexandre Selmer returned to France 1911, passed his business over to George Bundy. Over here we had Adolphe Sax company being bought. Of course, I also had a guitar company that they bought. They're back into clarinets. Their new emblem at the little top here in the late 90s. You can read up here if you want. What's interesting here is the Vario spec, tuning control device for clarinet, saxophones, and flutes. I'll have a video about that specifically in the near future. You can read more here if you want. Here they go on to show some other catalogs here briefly. 1935-36 catalog. They talk about the Radio Center 34, Center Tone 54, Series 9 and 9 star. I'm going to have a quick video about the Selmer 55, also about the good and bad about it. You can put pause on here if you want to read this page. Now we get about clarinet making. If you've never seen a clarinet being made, these are steps of it. For instance, usually the bell starts out with a block of wood, then it's shaped down a bit to the kind of shape of a bell. Then it's started to get turned. This point is just kind of chunks cut off of it. Then it gets turned into lathe. It's turned more into lathe and it's finalized with the rings and everything on it. And here's a upper joint. Matter of fact, I have some videos, I do believe, of cutting down. At one time I was going to actually start making some clarinets, but change of plans. You can see here just basically a block of wood, put on a lathe, round it down, make it more even, machine down even more. Of course, then a bore is put in, bore and end caps are finalized, and it drills out the tone holes. Then the posts are put on and everything. Mouthpiece and Reed. You can read about that in a right here, put it on pause. Here it talks about the reed a little bit. You can put it on pause here if you want to read that. And that's a quick rundown of the 2009 catalog. Don't forget to go like, share, thumbs up, and subscribe. That's all there is for today. You gotta love knowledge, gotta love life, you gotta love clarinets, right? We'll see you next time.